Yeah, lads, welcome back to Cusack Park in Ennis. We're still catching our breath, I think it's fair to say, after that Jamesie O'Connor. Waterford getting the win, 221 to 122. The upshot, Waterford through to the quarter-finals, Clare through to the relegation play-off. We thought it might have ended in a draw, which would have actually still suited both teams. Did Clare leave it behind? I mean, 9 wides in the end, and 7 of those came in the second half, a very tight second half.
Yeah, I think you have to give a lot of credit to Waterford, Oisín. I mean, midway through that second half, I kind of remarked to you that, Clare were only 3 points clear, and yes, appeared to be doing all the hurling, and they had their period of dominance, but they didn't make a count on the scoreboard, and Waterford just found a way to stay in there. I thought the two benefits worked incredibly hard in the second half. Tom Devine's introduction made a big difference as well. He gave Waterford a focal point, an out ball, held the ball up, and obviously got that crucial goal, which probably turned the match Waterford's way. But credit to Waterford, as I said, it looked like it was going to be, they were in a difficult position. They were playing into the breeze. Clare looked like they were very much having the better of it, but Waterford just ground it out, and full value for their win.
In general play, Clare had the best of it. They used the ball a bit better than Waterford. They dropped the ball into the corners and the forwards got out. They won it. They took their scores well. Cathal McInerney got a couple of good ones. Podge Collins got 1-3. John Conlon got 2 points in the second half. For the bulk of the game that worked. But then towards the end of the game they got very nervy and started taking wrong options and shooting wide. So it was yet again a mixed performance from Clare. It kind of summed up their league campaign.
I think so, yeah. I mean, their use of the ball in the first half was excellent, Oisín. And I mean, they were 1-3 to no score down inside 6 minutes. But played some really, really good hurling in that first half. I mean, some really accurate stick passing. Really good movement in their inside forward line. I said a lot of movement. Good ball, hitting a lot of diagonal ball where corner forwards were losing their men out in front, and Clare got some really well worked scores. But Waterford, to be fair, I think just denied Clare those opportunities in the second half. I think sometimes as well it's easier.
How did they do that?
I think again,
especially towards the end, the second half of the second half.
Yeah, I just think that Clare struggled maybe to win as much clean primary possession. Waterford, I think, just dropped a little bit deeper as well. Their half forward line came a little bit deeper. Jamie Shanahan, who's a really good striker of the ball and hit a lot of good ball in the first half. He wasn't as effective in the second half. Tony Kelly just seemed to drift out of the game. He struggled to get on the ball, and the inside. I think that to be fair to the Waterford full back line as well, they tightened up things. Didn't give the Clare forwards maybe the same space that they got in the first half. So I mean, you can say that, listen, Clare squandered a match-winning opportunity, but I still think that you have to give credit to the Waterford for the way they dug in and ground out the result.
If you want to look at it another way, and there's so many ways you can look at hurling now, through general play, through stats, through shots converted, through the way you play, but Waterford only hit 2 wides in the second half. So it's something I said throughout the day on my reports and off the ball, that at the start of the game Waterford weren't using the ball cleverly in the forwards, but they got clever as it went on.
I think that's a fairly accurate observation. I mean, there were a couple of shots and nothings, in that first half, crazy shots from distance, and the type of mistakes that, you'd imagine if they were looking back at the Kilkenny replay last year, Derek McGrath would be saying these are the type of things that we have to eliminate. Apart from 1 or 2, I think wrong options in the second half, I thought they used the ball really well. I mean, the two benefits, Stephen Bennett got a couple of fantastic scores. Shane Bennett ran himself into the ground, Oisín, in the cause, and Devine just gave them that focal point, up front. And as I said, they held the ball up, looked to work the ball out, recycle it, rather than, as I said, shooting under pressure from awkward positions. And that stat in itself, 2 wides in the second half, was probably ultimately what got them over the line.
I think all the hurling media are going to fall out over this Devine thing. My grandmother was a Devine, she's related to him, he's Devine. But look, it doesn't matter what he's called, he was the difference in the end. And he came in for Patrick Kern, so that gave Waterford something different in the forward line. But also a brave call made to bring off Austin Gleeson, who was getting on an awful lot of ball. He was working hard, but he wasn't using it overly well. He looked like a guy who was told, okay, Austin, go out and make the right decision. Sometimes he did, but not enough times.
No, and he didn't have anything like the impact that Waterford maybe would come to expect, or maybe have come to expect from him. And listen, Derek McGrath didn't shirk it. He wasn't having an impact on the game. Himself and Tony Kelly had been, there was some narky stuff between them in the first half. And as I said, the Waterford manager maybe felt he was ineffective and withdrew him. And it was probably the right call. As I said, Devine, I stand corrected. Was out in front of Keane Dillon and caused Keane Dillon no end of problems. Took him on for the goal. Andrew Fahey, who by and large had a good day in the Clare goal, made a really good save, but he was onto the rebound, and as I said, that was a score that probably finally nudged Waterford in front. I didn't really think they were going to win the game, Oisín, without getting a goal, but they managed to find it. And as I said, listen, the journey to Waterford will be a lot shorter, heading for the Waterford players on that bus this evening. This is a really, really good win for them, because one they had to really dig deep for.
I want to talk about Clare. What will they take out of the league campaign so far? They still obviously have the playoff to come. We talked last week after the game against Dublin, or a couple of weeks ago after the game against Dublin, that they looked confused as to what their game plan was. They look more certain at times today, and if they can get that right for longer periods, they'll be okay.
I think they will. I mean, listen, David Fitzgerald had a good game at wing back. Shane Morley, again, was rock solid at cornerback. David McInerney, by and large, was dominant in the other corner. But it's just that consistency, and it's sustaining it for 70 minutes. As I said, I really liked the pattern of play in the first half. There was some really accurate stick passing, good movement. We were a bit more direct. And at half time, I really thought, look, at Clare were going to kick on and win the game. But like in the Dublin game, we just seemed to lose our way a little bit, and there wasn't a whole lot wrong with the performance. I mean, again, I think you have to give credit to Waterford. So with the players that Clare have to come back into it, I mean, there's still a lot of first choice starters that weren't on the field today. Conor McGrath, Shane O'Donnell, Pat O'Connor, Colm Galvin saw game time at the end, and those guys, back fully fit, sharp, would give Clare maybe more of a cutting edge. Again, though, when in the second half, dirty ball had to be won. Kevin Moore, I thought, really got into the game. As I said, the two benefits, big physical players.
Is that still the big worry about Clare, that Waterford were able to win that dirty ball, make the right decisions and eke out a win that maybe they shouldn't have got, and they did it through that. That's what provided the platform for Bennett to get those two scores away, for Devine to get that score. Is that the worry for Clare?
I think so, Oisín, and that will remain the concern, that when we're facing the Kilkenny half-back line, the Tipperary half-back line, the Waterford half-back line, will we be able to win enough primary possession in the middle third? And I think Waterford saw the Lions share a ball in the last 20 minutes, and that probably made the difference.
You haven't seen Dublin play today, obviously. That was on in Parnell Park while this game was on. They lost against Kilkenny. They now play Clare in the relegation playoff. I'm not actually even sure where it is at this stage. They met here in the league, so I'm not sure does that make any difference when it comes to making that decision. It'll be up in Parnell Park. Yeah, we think it'll be in Parnell Park or in Dublin anyway, so that maybe changes things again, doesn't it?
Well, I think they both had 3 home games, Oisín, so I'd imagine it's probably a toss now for home field advantage. Sure. Dublin will take a lot of solace out of how well they played here against Clare. I mean, they wasted a lot of ball in the first half, but again made it very, very difficult, and with the cooler players to come back into it, we think that Dublin certainly will feel that they have a chance, and Clare, it's a game that Clare now have to be bear down and get themselves right for, because we don't know what may happen with the league, but certainly 1A is where you want to be, and Clare can take care of business by making sure they beat Dublin and securing their spot next year. That's
the most GA thing you've ever said. There's a relegation playoff coming up, but we don't know if it will actually count for anything, because if the structures change, Clare will stay in 1A regardless of result. Okay, that's it from Ennis after a very, very, very exciting game. Waterford beating Clare 221 to 122. Waterford got through to the quarter-finals. Clare up against Dublin in the relegation playoff. From the sunshine in Cusack Park, it's back to you.